Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. I also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you would like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alright, so we're back here again tonight. So we're going to be building Jack's PC. So who's Jack? Jack is actually Mick Martin's nephew. So yeah, so while I don't think Jack is actually a fan of the page, however, Mick is here most nights in the comments and everything like that. So Mick is such an awesome uncle. Here he is. Here he is, speak of the devil. So we got Josh and Mick chiming in. Hey guys, how you going? So Mick is such an awesome uncle that he actually sent up this Ryzen 5800X, which is Mick's old CPU because he recently upgraded to a 5950X. So he's actually given the 5800X to his nephew. So how good's that? Rodney, Jesse and Mark. Hey guys, how you going? Good to have you here. So, one very lucky young lad saved $630 on his PC build, which gave him $630 to spend in other places, which has meant a much better system for him. So, happy days. So, let's go through the components here. So, like I said, we've got the 5800X here. We're going to be putting it on the MSI B550 Pro VDH Wi-Fi motherboards. This is the same motherboard from last night. We have the Aorus RTX 3060 Ti. This is the Aorus Elite card. And I'm going to put that down the side because it's a big box that's going to get in the way. And we've got 16 gigabytes of Spectrix D41 3200 MHz CL16 memory. And we've got a crucial P1 500GB NVMe SSD. We also have a Seagate Barracuda 1TB hard drive there for a bit of extra storage. And we're going to be powering our build with a Cooler Master 650 watt 80 plus bronze unit with the 5-year warranty there. So this power supply puts out 648 watts on the 12 volt rail, so it's pretty much a true 650 watt power supply. We've got a Cooler Master MB520 ARGB case, comes with the 3 pre-installed ARGB fans on the front. We're going to be adding an extra one for the back there, and we're going to be cooling it all down with the Deepcool Castle V2 360 degrees RGB all-in-one liquid cooler. If that's not a mouthful and a half. Big graphics card, yeah. They come in big boxes. The graphics cards, you know, like less than half the size, like quarter of the size of this box, basically. They just put them in big chunky boxes. They love it. I don't know why, but that's what they do. Anyway, so let's get started here tonight. So we have a buddy there. Yep. So we got an IO shield, Wi-Fi antennas, some SATA cables. And we actually got our M2 screws tonight, so how good's that? And we get all this, which we don't need. And we have an MSI Go Faster badge. Yes, yes I do. That's Buddy. Alrighty. Alright, so this is the same board from last night, so I won't show you a close-up again, but I'll point out the main features just like I did last time. So I've got our 8-pin CPU power connector here. We've got a direct touch heatsink on our MOSFET and VRM. We don't have anything along the top here with our co-processors and stuff. Not going to be a big deal. We have our first fan header here, so this will be designated CPU. We've got our dual channel memory here, so 4 slots, 2 channels. Around here we've got a sneaky 5-volt RGB header there. We've got 2 more fan headers over here. Then we have our 24-pin ATX power for the motherboard, so this powers pretty much everything else on the board. We've got another fan header, a USB Type-C front panel connection. I don't think we've got Type-C on this case. We've got 4 horizontally orientated SATA ports there and a horizontally orientated USB 3. Down the bottom here we've got another 5-volt RGB header, we've got an LED switch, we have our front panel connections, we've got our diagnostic speaker header, we've got 2 USB 2.0s, we've got COM port debug pins, we have another fan header down here, so that's a total of 5 on this board. We've got 2 12-volt RGB headers down here, our front panel audio down there. And so obviously our front panel audio, all this stuff around here is all the audio system, and our audio connections at the rear I/O as close as possible to all that other audio hardware. And then we have our Wi-Fi card here, so we've got Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.1. We have a single gigabit Ethernet here, which is fine. We have 4 USB 3 and aboves. We have 2 USB 2s, we've got a PS2 port, and we have a HDMI DisplayPort and VGA port which won't be in use. And there's also a little flash BIOS button around there. And then in the center there we've got our 2 M2 slots, got our main PCIe X16 slot there, got a trusted platform module header over there, that's the thing for Windows 11. We've got a second M2 slot down there, and we've got our 2 PCIe X1 slots there. So that pretty much sums up all of the main features of this motherboard. So, sorry to show you the same motherboard 2 nights in a row, but that's just how it goes sometimes. So the reason why we use a lot of, you'll see this board come up a lot, is because it is the best value B550 motherboard that you can get. It has the onboard Wi-Fi, it has dual M2 slots, and it has a reasonable amount of fan headers and reasonably good features on the board. And so coming in at under $150, that is why you'll see it in a lot of my Ryzen builds, because the person's usually on a tight budget, and I generally recommend spending more on things like the graphics card than the motherboard when the budget's tight. So that's the rationale with this one. And so obviously without CPU, this is actually Mick's old CPU. So hopefully he hasn't bent any pins or anything. I'll be like, God damn you, Mick! No, I'm sure it's fine. A little bit of extra thermal paste there, that's alright. Yeah. Ah, yes.
What's the highest DDR RAM?
What's the highest DDR RAM I can get? Like 400? DDR4, DDR memory. Original DDR memory. That is, yeah, up to 400 megahertz. I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's been a little while. But I'm pretty sure it goes up to 400. Then you've got your DDR2, which you can get DDR2 800, and I think you can get up to like 960 or something like that, or maybe just over 1,000. Then you've got your DDR3, which is standards like 1333, and you can get like 1600 and stuff. And then you get DDR4 after that. So this memory here is obviously a DDR4. Ah, yes. Yeah, I mean that's still a good CPU for gaming. Like, you're not gonna, depending on the games that you play, most games it's gonna be fine. Ryzen 3600, i5 9400F, i3, 10105F, i3 9100F. Any of these CPUs, like, they're not the fastest anymore, but just because, you know, Ryzen 5000 became a thing doesn't mean that they became slower. They're still good CPUs for gaming. They're still good value propositions. So unless you're running games where you're maxing out your CPU, maybe don't even worry about upgrading to 3600. Maybe just get a new graphics card. Maybe just get some more RAM, some better storage. You know, if you don't need more CPU, don't upgrade it. Alrighty. So we did have some screws here. So yeah, you definitely want to make sure that if you're buying original DDR RAM online, that you are buying stuff that's new. And if you are buying secondhand stuff, I really do recommend that you go in person and ask them to either demonstrate the modules working, or to bring something with you so you can test it then and there, because we are talking generally very old memory. There is still, you can still buy it new, but yeah, it's very expensive. Yes, so Mick sent the CPU down in his Ryzen 5950 Xbox, but I changed it to a 5800 Xbox just for the video, so people don't get confused. Play lots of simulation games. Yeah. So I'd probably have a look at setting up Riva Tuner on your computer and actually having a look how much CPU you're actually using in your favorite games, playing with the settings that you like. And then if you're seeing that you're coming up, you know, you're seeing your CPU get up to like 90% usage or something like that, then yeah, probably will have a bit of a noticeable difference with a faster CPU in there. But the thing is, you'll see when I do benchmarks, you'll see that for the most part the CPU doesn't do a lot of work while we game in most games. It becomes more of a thing as the frames per second start getting higher. So if you're playing a game that runs at really high FPS, it's more important to have a faster CPU for that. Whereas if you're running the same game, for example, right, your CPU will do more work running that certain game at 1080p than it will at 4K. The graphics card will do more work at 4K, but the CPU will do less work. So it's kind of weird how CPU plays in with gaming. It's like the hardest thing to explain to people. So.
Mark says, okay, thanks for the best buys so they can check out what time after you buy.
Should I just go to Best Buy, or I'd probably just have a look and see if you can find some second hand, and just bring the laptop over and plug them in, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, don't buy it. I mean, you could take it in for someone to actually test and diagnose for you. I mean, that's fine. That's all good, but you could do that. At the end of the day, you're still going to have to add the RAM, I think. You'll need to put RAM in it to diagnose it. So I'd say step one would just be getting the system up to a functioning level, and then you can worry about, okay, is there some sort of deeper problem with this machine, or was it, you know, did it just need me to put the new memory in? Okay, so we've got our fans. Got our box of accessories. And we have our cooler. Yeah. It's a good build for just a streaming PC. So when you say a streaming PC, just give me a little bit more information about what you mean by that, because people come to me and they say that and they mean different things. So like, do you want a PC where you can game and stream your gameplay while you're playing it? Or do you want a PC that you can hook capture cards up to and capture gameplay from another computer, or capture a live video feed? What do you mean by a streaming PC? Because some people want a streaming PC to stream their PS5, for example. So it's going to be pretty different. If you need something that's going to game and run your stream at the same time, you need something pretty powerful for that. You need a good CPU for that. Yes, yeah, there we go. So, yeah, playing on PS4, just wants to run the stream. Yeah, so you don't need too much for that. You don't need to go crazy, okay? So, do you want to, babe? Do you want to share with the comment group just a quick snapshot of CPU usage while we're doing the stream, and graphics card usage? Just to give everyone an idea. Yeah.
I said, huh?
Oh, I didn't say anything.
No, I was like trying to work out how to fucking.
Oh, is there no picture icon? What, you can't post a picture in the... Surely that's just a setting. What's that image?
Certain emoji comment with a sticker.
Oh. Click on more. Up the top there. Is there like... No, on the right hand side. No. Excellent.
Stop rubbing yourself on the freaking tripod, Cal.
you want to just send them to me on Facebook? Because my screen's hooked up. I can just share it.